welcome to
The Ghouls Room.
I'm your host, Jilly.
I'm your host, Jessy.
And today I have something I have been obsessed with.
For better or for worse?
Oh, for worse. Definitely for worse. It has affected my sleep, my dreams.
I love getting the text. I'm scared to drive home now at night.
It was bad. I was looking this up at work late at night, and then I still had to drive home in the dark. It was rough. But so today, I was thinking we would dive into black-eyed children.
Presumably not to be confused with the black-eyed peas.
Yes, that is something a lot of people got confused in a lot of these
Common
stories,
misconception.
actually. It was quite hilarious.
Fergie can be quite terrifying.
It was quite funny.
And we got a nice rainstorm going, some thunder.
Some nice ambiance.
Really setting the mood.
We turned the lights down low. So, you guys at home, put on some rain in the background so you can be a part of this.
Yeah.
So, I figured we'll do the basic. Since this is not a college course, I used Wikipedia. Okay? Because I thought I just want a brief definition of what exactly is black-eyed children. Mm-hmm. I know besides the basics of maybe their eyes are black, but for someone very new and diving in for the first time and maybe hearing this for the first time, this concept.
I know the broad strokes, so it'll be good for a refresher.
So the definition from Wikipedia, black-eyed children or black-eyed kids are legendary paranormal creatures originated in modern American folklore, which superficially resembles human children or teenagers with pale skin and pitch black eyes. They are reportedly seen begging or hitchhiking, or are encountered on doorsteps or residential homes. Yeah. These beings are alleged to be either undead, ghostly, demonic, alien, or otherwise inhuman creatures attempting to impersonate ordinary human children.
Really covering all the bases there.
They're literally anything.
Demon, ghost, alien.
Should have wrote dog, because anything, In order to manipulate people by requesting entry into houses or riding in vehicles with supposedly sinister motives.
You'd think they'd conflate vampires into all this with the being invited in.
Some actually kind of do. The more I was looking into it, there's some people that briefly think that maybe it's like a immortal vampire vibe, which
it feels like a mix of old changeling myths and vampires. Because, changelings were your baby gets stolen by the Fae and replaced with a doppelganger that's, not quite human.
I didn't even think, but that's so true. That's such a scary concept. I think I don't know what would be scarier. Probably your own child not being your own child compared to, a stranger
100%.
Child,
I mean, I'm not a parent, but I would imagine...
That's quite terrifying,
It also explains why so many parents hate autism, because... let me explain.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
Your baby turns into this weird it's basically how they explained autism in the Middle Ages.
That's so true. It's that's not your child.
Yeah, so I can see parents today having that same reaction.
Right, especially
the shitty parents, not good parents accept their kids, but the ones that are we have to cure autism.
Right. It's no,
I have
let
this
them be their own
weird changeling creature.
You're right.
Sorry. Back to the. Can we call them Becks for short? B-E-C or B-E-K?
That's crazy because so I did some research and I found this really cool website that we will link in the show notes. But basically, the literal first sentence is sighting of black-eyed children or Becks.
Oh, good.
So
because black-eyed children saying over is a mouthful.
Oh, it's so I'm just gonna say Becks, or B-E-K for short. What sounds better? Becks.
I like Becks.
I would be a Beck.
Because you can have a Beck, multiple Becks.
B-E-K reminds me of BK, not Burger King. What's that killer?
BTK.
BTK. There's too many, Becks. I'll just
BLT,
say
BTK.
Too many abbreviations with B, and I can't. So we're going to call them Becks. But just because Wikipedia is all fun in games, but I just wanted to see if there were any other descriptions out there. So
Sorry, did you say, does this website have like a name or anything? Like Johnny's Beck Emporium or not even like a title or anything?
I don't know how to say this. So we will leave the link in the description underneath the episode, but I apologize if I say this wrong, but simripochi.com. Check it out. It is very creepy and very cool, so we're going to leave it linked below.
If you are Tibetan and have any pronunciation tips for us, we're all ears.
I will say it again if you tell me how to. So, but on this website, I found really cool, just a little deeper into the black-eyed children, Becks for short. So let's get into it. Sightings of the black-eyed children, or Becks for short, place them to be around the ages of 6 to 16. These children have been described as wearing white bedclothes, normal attire...
Pajamas?
Bedclothes, okay? I think that not just pajamas.
Are they wearing Ebenezer Scrooge nightgowns and hats?
That's how I picture this, okay? Because it says bedclothes.
Okay.
You know, and I think if you Google bedclothes, I think it's not just pajamas. But I mean, technically, pajamas are clothes you wear to bed. I don't know. So
I mean, it is also possible they're just not...
it has to be white, so...
English first language.
That's very fair, too.
You know, could be some translation... in translation.
I like to think Ebenezer because that just sounds more scary.
We got little Victorian orphans.
Like that just sounds terrifying with black eyes. No, thank you.
The white really makes their eyes pop. You know,
that's why they have to be white. But at the same time, it's either terrifying or normal attire or even hoodies. So it's very it's either terrifying or like, okay, that's a kid.
This is more of a business casual scare day. I got my hoodie on.
I didn't expect to do this today, but I had to meet quota, you know? So they are pale skinned. So again, super pale.
Make the eyes pop.
Yeah. With the pallor of death upon them. So I guess they look like almost dead children or soon to be dead children.
Yeah.
The distinguishing features is their haunting eyes, which, if you didn't guess, are jet black with no discernible whites, irises, or pupils. So literally just in their eye, black, like those contacts that are terrifying when people put them in. These beings are often said to knock on doors or windows, or can be found out in open, abandoned fields, playing in groups at night.
Ooh.
They speak confidently, asking to be let into homes or cars or others, in a manner that has surpassed the intellect of children their same age. Those who invite them into their homes are not heard of again. Which is crazy because everything I've seen on stories...
How would you know they invited them in?
Because those are the stories you don't hear about. You only hear like, I didn't open the door, I didn't do this. Not one of these stories has said, oh, I let the... Well, I saw one actually, but it was okay because it was a little boy, okay? And he was sitting in the back car with his mom, and the mom was driving, and she went, so she wasn't in the back seat. But she went into the grocery store, okay? This is on the same website in case you guys are curious and want to look this up. But the woman went into the store, and then she came out and saw 2 children in her back seat. So she walked over, saw the little girl, and she felt off. She pulled the son, pulled her in the house, like in the store, and they called the police. The child was gone. No one could find the kid. So that's the only story so far that I've seen of someone letting the thing in. But the little boy said that the girl knocked on the door, asked to be let into the car.
I have to imagine it doesn't count if the kid does it. Like, they're just kids. They don't know what they're saying. Maybe. It's gotta be the owner of the vehicle.
You're right.
He's not on the deed.
Maybe it's like the cheese touch, and that's how they
the what?
The cheese touch. Do you know what that...
No.
Okay. So
what is the cheese touch?
That's like a thing from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but basically there's a moldy piece of cheese, and whoever touches the cheese has the cheese touch, and they can pass it. Kind of like tag. They just call it the cheese touch, okay? They call it the cheese touch.
Okay.
Oh, get your milk.
Sorry, what are we comparing the cheese touch to? I got so blindsided by that, like you when I brought up autism.
So I'm saying that maybe cheese touch or like a tag process is the equivalent to children talking to the children. Like maybe they are trying to turn them into Becks.
The
you know what I mean?
Process.
Yes. So maybe like that's why the girl approached the little boy because came to either way got in the car, nothing happened. Look into it. It's kind of pretty cool. But there is no exact point in time when these beings started to appear. However, stories about them began to surface on the internet in the mid 1990s. So that's actually not that old because actually I don't.
Thank you. I'll take it
because I was born 98, so that's actually 1900s. You know how kids are saying that these days? Crazy. One blogger / journalist, Brian Bethel, claims to be the first person to have encountered the Becks. It happened in 1996 in Abilene, Texas. The encounter took place in the spring or summer of that year, he reports. And this is quoted from Brian. I had gone down to the former site of Camelot Communications, one of the area's original internet providers, to pay my bill. I love anything with Camelot. I love that. At the time, Camelot was near the movie theater. I was using the light of the theater's marquee to write out my check, which I planned to put in the Camelot's night drop slot. Involved in my work, I never heard them approach. Here was a knock on my door's side window. Two young boys, somewhere between 9 to 12 years old, and dressed in hooded pullovers, stood outside. I cracked the window a bit, anticipating a spiel for money, but I was immediately gripped by an incomprehensible, soul-wrenching fear. I had no idea why. A conversation ensued between one boy, a somewhat suave, olive-skinned, curly-haired young man, and myself. The other, a red-headed, pale-skinned, freckled young man, stayed in the background. The spokesman, as I've come to think of him.
I feel like someone should open a bike shop and call themselves the Spokesman. Sorry, continue.
The spokesman, as I've come to think of him, told me that he and his companion needed a ride. They wanted to see a movie, Mortal Kombat. But they...
I don't know why, but that makes this a lot less scary. Right. Hey, mister, we want to go see Mortal Kombat. Like, what?
But they left their money at their mother's house.
Oh, okay.
Could I give them a ride? Plausible enough. Mm-hmm. But all throughout this exchange, the irrational fear continued and grew. I had no reason to be frightened by these two boys, but I was. Terribly.
She's just trying to lighten the mood. The children said they wanted to see Mortal Kombat and then made the strangest sound.
Please stop. After a bit more conversation, I looked up at the theater marquee and down at the digital clock display in my car. Mortal Kombat's last show of the night had already started. By the time I could have driven the boys anywhere and back, it would practically have been over.
Stupid kids.
Right? All the while, the spokesman uttered assurances. It wouldn't take long. They were just two little kids. They didn't have a gun or anything.
Jeez. Hey, mister, we're just two little kids. We don't have a gun or nothing. Like, what? Like, why would you feel the need to say that? I wasn't thinking it.
But now that you said it, I'm thinking it. Like, the last part was a bit unnerving. Yeah, you think? In the short time I had broken the gaze of the spokesman, something had changed, and my mind exploded in a vortex of all-consuming terror. Both boys stared at me with coal-black eyes. Soulless orbs like two great swaths of starless night. I full-on freaked out inside while trying to appear completely sane and calm. I made whatever excuses came to mind, all of them designed to get me the hell out of there. I wrapped my hand around the gear shift, threw the car into reverse, and began to roll up my window, apologizing all the while.
I really hope one of his excuses was, you kids are way too young to be watching Mortal Kombat.
I don't think I approve. My fear must have been evident. The boy in the back wore a look of confusion. The spokesman banged sharply on the window as I rolled it up. His words, full of anger, echoed in my mind even today. "We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in." I drove out of the parking lot in a blind fear, and I'm surprised I didn't sideswipe a car or two along the way. I stole a quick look in my rearview mirror before peeling out into the night. The boys were gone. Even if they had run, I don't believe there was any place they could have hidden from view that quickly. So that was Bethel's experience. Wow. And he claims to be the first person that has ever officially seen black-eyed children. Bex. And if that's true, I mean, could they be aliens? All of a sudden, how does it come from nothing?
Alien vampires.
I could see that.
They're 90s kids.
You're right, because vampires can't come in unless you invite them in. I mean, I haven't met a vampire.
From what I've heard.
From what I heard, they don't like garlic, and you can't invite them in. And don't give them steak.
Not sure where they fall on Mortal Kombat, though.
I know. They might be big fans. I personally have no idea. So that seems terrifying. I did look into a few true stories on Reddit. So let's jump in, shall we? This one is from a Reddit user, PM me your babysitter.
I am desperately in need of childcare.
I have told this story before, and it never crossed my mind that it could be Beck, until another Redditor commented on it.
I'm curious if they mean like they hadn't heard of the phenomenon before, because like if they had heard of it and they see a child with black eyes and don't think, oh, it's a black-eyed child, like I'm very curious to see where this goes.
Well, from where this looks to be starting, I feel like there is a possibility that they were not under very clear-minded circumstances.
Interesting. Okay.
So let me continue. I was camping in the Florida Everglades during a music festival.
Oh boy, that's already too big.
You know?
Oh, Florida.
I lost my voice a few days before we arrived.
Oh, geez.
So I wore a whistle around my neck to make communicating a little easier.
Oh my god. All right, it's going to be 1 toot for yes, 2 toots for no.
Quick trigger warning just for drugs and
whistling,
just in case, you know, that is triggering.
Not to make light of trigger warnings.
Sorry.
Content warnings.
One friend had eaten a Xanax bar and was laid out in my tent. That's what I was saying. This is
I did not know you can make Xanny edibles.
No, I think that's what they call a Xanax.
Oh,
is a bar
not like an
Xanax.
Actual chocolate bar.
I was confused too. Okay,
I'm not in this subculture. I don't know.
I was confused when because they said eaten. So then I was like, wait, because wouldn't you say you taken a Xanax?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let us know all. Me and my other friend were tidying up around the outside of the tent. The tent was large, with 2 entrances, but not very tall, so it was very easy to see over. All of a sudden, I noticed 2 young girls approaching us, probably around 16 years of age. They are all giggly and running around our tent area. At this point, I'm like, what the fuck? And I look to my other friend that's standing outside with me, like for answers. Maybe she knew these girls. Then I noticed how fast they were moving. Within a blink of the eye, One of the girls was at the opposite end of my tent, scratching at the tent door, asking to be let in.
Ooh.
Head to toe, dressed in Native American attire, hair beaded and braided, and their eyes had no white. I have no voice and am starting to really freak out. The girls are glitching with static, moving from 50 feet away to 3 feet away in under a second, and back to scratching on the door, like a broken record asking to be let in. I start blowing the fuck out of my whistle and they vanish. The whole encounter lasted no more than a few minutes, but goodness, in the minutes, it felt like time crinkled and stopped. So I can see with the black eyes. I clearly see, okay, Bex, black-eyed children. I get that. I mean,
they also didn't say they had black eyes. They just said they didn't have whites.
That's
so,
true.
You could still have, like, the part around the iris.
True. And this Reddit user did correct at the end, saying that it was nighttime. So...
Nighttime, yeah. If you're not, like, super close.
And if you're I'm not saying that this can't be it, but if you're also, taking some drugs and stuff.
I don't want to say I don't believe this one, but there's definitely...
There's
some question.
Yeah.
Although I will say, someone who's lost their voice, that would be a great premise for a horror movie.
Right.
Or like someone who's just mute to begin with.
With the whistle?
And like just the idea that like you can't talk to...
Right.
Cry for help or whatever.
Right, or you hear and you see something and you can't speak.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I do think it's terrifying, the glitching aspects of that, because that's terrifying.
Have you seen VHS, the first one?
Yes.
The one that's like a parody of Friday the 13th?
Yes.
Where that's what it made me think of. I mean, I know that's more like they're recording it, so it's distorting the camera, not like glitching in real life.
Supernatural.
Oh, did they?
I think there's an episode where there's a glitching thing.
Either I don't remember it or it was after I stopped watching.
Could have been Ghost Whisperer. Okay, if anyone's watching, listening, God. So this next story I have...
Oh, wait, also just the fact that they're like giggly teen girls just makes it... sorry to all the giggly teen girls out there, but just so much less threatening. Just picture like...
Let us in!
Come on. Like...
You wanna...
I think you were just a bit zooted and you saw some kids that snuck into the music festival. Like...
Because I was a little confused, though, when they were talking about tidying up the outside of the tent, but then saying that the girls wanted to get in the tent.
Yeah.
Were they both outside while this happened, or did they re-enter the tent? So, I can see... Yeah. And I believe you, dude.
The teen girls were probably zooted as well.
That's what...
thinking they're at their tent or something,
Right, exactly. Like, not that music festivals can't be terrifying, I bet, but, So, our next story comes from a deleted Reddit user.
The Bex got him.
The Bex did get him. So now we know what happens.
Let us in and delete your Reddit account.
So, not exactly a Beck, but when I was a teenager, long before affordable monster contact lenses were common. So this...
Okay.
Let me start off, okay? So this is like a slightly different version, but I thought it was just as terrifying. Yeah. Okay.
I do also like that they said that to begin with, because like it does paint them as someone trying to find a logical explanation, which I appreciate.
So let's continue. I met a very spooky kid with reflective, glass-like silver eyes.
Ooh.
I ran into him later at night in a mall, going to the movies, a theme.
Okay, sorry, quick side tangent, but that reminded me, I'd be really curious from like the sightings, like not so much the last one, but like the original one, and just in general, if like the eyes still reflect, because I'm almost wondering like if
like
there were
camera wise.
Well, no, because my thought is, would it look similar if there were no eyes at all and they were just empty sockets?
Oh, okay.
Whereas
or if there was gloss.
Yeah, like a black eyeball, or like are they missing their eyes and it just looks like black eyes? which I feel like would be equally scary.
Scarier.
You know? So I'd be curious if like they were like, oh no, I could tell it was eyes because like they reflected, but it was
right,
all, you know.
Right. That's a good point.
But, sorry, yeah, the silver made me think of like metal balls or something.
Right.
Then, yeah, remind me.
I ran into him later at night in a mall going to the movies in the food court as the mall started closing up. They had a problem with the soft drink machine at the concession stand. I bet it was McDonald's. Syrup was malfunctioning, and so they sent us over to the food court right next door to get our drinks while they attempted to fix it.
I thought you were saying that the mysterious silver-eyed child was having a problem getting their drink. I was like, oh, this poor monster just wants a soda and the machine's broken.
The kid was my age at the time and dressed a bit like...
Well, how old were you at the time?
Kiefer Sutherland in Lost Boys.
Oh, vampires again.
Right? That was going to say, bringing it back. He chatted me and my BFF up, but didn't go into the movies. He was wearing half-dark glasses, so at first I didn't really fully see his eyes were definite glassy metallic silver. I said something about it to my BFF, and she admitted that he was creepy to her, and yes, she'd seen it, but it was just a chance encounter, or so we thought. Her brother picked us up after the movies, and we went to stay over at her place that night. At no point did we tell the kid our names or where we were going after.
Oh, no.
We didn't use our names to each other or talk about where we lived at all.
Oh, no.
We didn't tell him our names at all. I don't think she told them their names.
We used code words exclusively.
We were not rude to him, but we did not make friends with him either. I wake up at 3 a.m., and this guy is outside the window down below, and he does his level best to get me to invite him in.
Honestly, paranormal are not equally scary.
Terrifying. How'd you find me?
Yeah, you followed us home and waited till 3 a.m.?
Right. Ooh. Guy with silver eyes asking me to invite him in at 3 a.m. Guy who, by right, should not know who I am or where to find me. I'm no dummy.
Oh, he must have been, like, calling her name or something.
Right.
Like, she hasn't explicit, but, like, we didn't tell her name. And, like
right.
Contextually, it feels like he was probably calling her name.
Because how else would he try to get her awake at, you know?
And why else would she be like, we didn't tell him our name?
Right. I'm no dummy. I've seen many vamp movies. And this guy was reminding me of a teenaged, vampirized Danny Glick every second I was talking to him. The clothes were pure Lost Boys, but the cajoling routine was straight out of Salem's Lot. I told him to F off and to go away, and I did a banishing pentagram and grabbed the salt and sealed every door and window, every entrance to her place. How old are you is still my question.
Yeah.
Because how... If you were, 16 maybe, especially if you've seen all these movies, okay, that kind of makes sense. Her grandma was into hoodoo, so I didn't have to explain much the next morning.
Grandma's like, yeah, I got you.
I got you, no worries. You need more salt? I got some out back. My BFF totally got why I did what I did. That wasn't the end of it, though. We saw him several times over the next week, or so in various places. He was definitely stalking us. When we'd see him, he'd just smile, and I can't explain it, but his smile, it was just kind of sinister and looked out of place on a teenaged boy's face. We finally got together with her grandma, and we did something a bit stronger, and he finally...
We bought a gun.
And he finally went away, but those eyes of his were not human, and they were not contacts, and whatever he was up to no good. I had a very strong feeling he wasn't a teenage boy, and that he was some kind of parasite using the appearance of a boy to lure in young prey. I suspect that's what Becks are, and I suspect that he was something very similar to what later became known as Becks. I do know that he wasn't okay with it when I told him to leave and salted the entrances, and later when he saw the Gris bags.
I think it's Gree. It's like little charms.
Okay. And later when he saw the Gree bags we'd made with BFF's Gran, he was really annoyed.
I knew Gran was on it.
You knew. She knew. He obviously chose the wrong girls to mess with and wasn't happy about it. We wasted his time, I guess. I love that one. That one snaps. I like that one.
I like the way they said something like became black-eyed, because now I'm just picturing like this is like Mark 1 of whatever the creature is, and then they get like
silver-eyed,
like refined into like the next version.
Right. They were silver-eyed, but that was too whimsy, so they became black-eyed.
It's also so interesting because like vibe-wise, it's very similar, but I feel like it's really different too, because I feel like most of the stories it's very one-off,
right?
Whereas this one was like repeated,
right?
Which is like a very interesting difference. And like the Becks feel like more of a generalist, whereas this is very focused. And also, like I said, I like that they brought up the contacts, but even if they had been, like I was just looking up silver contacts to double, like they don't look metallic,
right?
They look like, you know, like light gray,
right,
kind of shiny, but like
right.
Even if they had been contacts, they don't look metallic. So that's very interesting.
And I wonder how long ago this was too, because to make the point of saying they later became known as black-eyed children, that's also interesting too.
Yeah.
And you know, I wonder if they started out gray and then, because the way she described him was like a normal kid.
And they're just black.
That's what I was thinking, because he started like she doesn't
burned by
say
the Gree bag.
He wasn't creepy looking; it was just his eyes. And now they describe Becks as looking almost deadly, close to death. I wonder if these things are rotting the black eyes. But you're right; there's so many differences. But that was a good story. I like that one. So our next encounter is from a Reddit user, Stellasrevenge. And this is the most recent.
Ooh.
Here's my story.
Post-wise or when it takes place-wise?
Post-wise. It was posted 4 months ago. Here's my story. The only person I told this to was my mama, and here it goes. One day, I was walking home from a late-night chorus function. My neighborhood was like any normal place, lots of close-knit houses where everyone knew everyone. A few friends of mine in the chorus walked home, not unusual. Sarah left to her house first. Megan was next. I was the last house. I swear on my way home, on my grandma's grave, 3 small kids approached. Probably 50 feet away. I noticed right away there were in odd clothes, like different centuries.
Oh, we're back to the Victorian.
I was going to say back to the Victorian children. I love history, so right away it was garb of olden days. This alarmed me because, like, why would they be dressed like that, right? When they approached, thankfully due to streetlights, I could see they had black eyes. I saw thankfully because I knew it wasn't right. No shit. I was so scared I dipped through yards to get to my house. This was back in 2008, BT dub. I was 23 years old. I worked at the school, not an attendant. So that was that. I got home after that experience, shook up and really creepy for sure. A week or more went by. My parents were avid community volunteers, really big in our church, St. Paul's of Selberg. This all took place in Indiana, a small town. Again, after school. Thankfully, this time, I wasn't the only witness. Sarah was part of the last 3. The child was short like a small kid, dressed in white dress, kinda like a nighty dress, was walking towards us. She spoke. Hey, can I please use your telephone? It was a really odd, olden voice. like Titanic era. Ha.
Please, sir, may I use your telephone? I am but a simple child.
I guess it was English. Well, Sarah and I looked at each other like, is this girl lost? We definitely felt like we should help. When the girl got closer, I immediately recognized her from a few weeks before. Terrified, I couldn't speak. Sweat immediately formed around my face. Heartbeat was at an all-time high. I really was having a breakdown of fear inside. I heard Sarah trying to discuss her...
Marquis?
Plight? I heard Sarah trying to discuss her plight to help her while I stood dumbfounded, stuttering over my words to Sarah, hey, this is not okay. We should get out of here. But I couldn't get through to her. She was adamant about helping this child. She was asking her for her parents' phone number and where she lived, in the hopes we could get her back to her home. It was at this moment that the girl really came into the streetlights. Her black eyes were solid. Like the entire eyes were black. And then Sarah really noticed her clothes were so old looking. I grabbed at Sarah, kinda gently but firm, pleading to get the F out of there. I had known since this child walked up to us that it was creepy and not trustworthy. The chills I was feeling were hurting my skin. She looked at my eyes and saw my frightened expression. She realized we were in danger. The both of us heard the girl asking for help. She needed to call home and was desperate to get to a phone. When I looked back, she was trailing us as I pulled my friend away. Swear it was so scary I almost pissed myself. Sarah too was now getting that we were in danger. She saw this thing was not what it claimed to be. We go to a pretty rural school. Houses are often very spread out. We ran for easily half a mile to my house, as it was the closest for rescue from this little demon-looking kid. We looked out my upstairs window, and for about an hour, this thing stood outside on the road, just standing there, still and calm, but zeroed in on the window we looked from, with the demonic expression, like it was willing to wait us out. I'll never forget its face, and the feeling of fear that night was just waiting to get us. Sarah stayed over that night. The next morning, we, of course, looked for any signs of what we encountered that night, but to no avail, it was life as usual. We had my mom call about the kid we saw and followed us to the authorities. Nothing ever came of it. So it's been at least 10 years since this occurred, because my mom is the only one that still lives near where this all happened. Occasionally, when I visit and look out my bedroom window, I see 3 kids standing in the road looking towards my window. I've never dared answering the door when it rings past midnight.
Oh, hate that.
So yeah, those are the few stories that I picked out for us today. I constantly am obsessed, so this topic may or may not be coming back a few times because it's just so scary.
It's a really solid urban legend for sure.
It's so scary.
It's one of those things too where it's a gray area of like, if you're already familiar with the stories and then you like happen to be in a weird situation where you see, are you more likely to like
to assume, right,
think that like, oh, it's a black-eyed child, like
right,
if you're far enough away you can't see their eyes really well, is your mind gonna like jump to that and like sort of see what you want to see, sort of
right,
because like there's nothing else outwardly supernatural about it,
right? Because this, realistically, I mean, it's creepy, but
yeah, if
someone came up to use your phone, I feel like normally it's to let in your house to use your phone, or let in your car to use their, like, to just walk up to them on the street and ask to use a phone. Like 2008, we had cell phones, so that's also slightly different. You're right. The clothes is what got me, because that you see all over the place. It's never consistent. Yeah. It's always like a terrifying haunted child or like kid in a hoodie. Like, But so that was what we had for today.
You want to move over to
You got something good for me? I'm ready.
Installment number 2 of the search and rescue story.
I've been waiting for
Reddit. Just a quick content warning for this story. It deals with loss of a child. I'm a search and rescue officer for the U.S. Forest Service. I have some stories to tell. Part 2. So I logged back on tonight and was blown away by the staggering amount of interest this seems to have generated. First off, I'll address a few things that you guys have brought up. There's been an overwhelming amount of people mentioning the similarity between some of my stories and those of David Paulides. David Paulides is full of shit. I hate it. I assure you I'm not trying to rip him off in any way. I've got nothing but respect for the guy. He's actually what inspired me to write this, because I can verify a lot of the things he talks about. I mean, I will give them this, they are equally truthful.
Does he pretend to be truthful?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think his books are called, like, Missing 411.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've heard of him.
It's very much like, person went missing. It's Bigfoot, or like, all these people went missing here, and it's this big conspiracy. Blah,
right.
Like,
okay.
But just, like, a lot of his stuff is just, like, completely made up from what I've seen. We do have a lot of these strange missing persons cases, and most of the time they aren't solved. Either that, or we find them in places they have no business being. I personally haven't been on many calls like that, but I'll share a few that I've seen, and a story my friend told me that relates to this. There was a lot of feedback about the stairs, so I'll touch on that briefly here, and I'll also include a story. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, styles, and conditions. Some are pretty dilapidated, just ruins, but others are brand new. I saw one set that looked like they came from a lighthouse. They were metal and spiral, almost old-fashioned. The stairs don't go up infinitely, or farther than I can see, but some sets are taller than others. Like I said before, just imagine the stairs in your house, as if someone cut and pasted them in the middle of nowhere. I don't have any pictures, it's never really occurred to me to try again after the first time. I don't really feel like risking my job over it. I'll try again in the future, but I can't really promise anything. A few people expressed confusion about the guy who ran into the man with no face. Just to clarify, when the climber ascended and reached the top of this peak, he saw another man in a parka and ski pants. This was the man with no face. Sorry about the confusing wording of that story, I'll try to avoid that in the future. Alright, on to the news stories. As far as missing persons go, I'd say about half the calls I get are related to that. The others are rescue calls. People who fall down cliffs and hurt themselves, get injured by fire. You wouldn't believe how often that happens, mostly drunk kids. I can believe Like I said last time, this, even though it's fiction, it feels very well researched, or they actually are.
I've played close to fire.
A park and rescue, whatever. Get bitten or stung by animals or insects. We're a tight team, and we have veterans who are excellent at finding signs of lost people. That's what makes these cases where we never find any trace of them so frustrating. One in particular was upsetting for all of us, because we did find a trace of them, but it just led to more questions than answers. An older man had been hiking alone on a well-established trail, but his wife called to say that he hadn't come home when he should have. Women, am I right? Kidding. Apparently, he had a history of seizures, and she was worried that he hadn't taken his medication and had suffered one out on the trail. Before you ask, I have no idea why he thought it was okay to go out alone, or why she didn't go with him. I don't ask about that kind of thing, because past a certain point, it really doesn't matter. Someone is missing, and it's my job to find them. We went out in a standard search formation, and it wasn't long before one of our vets found signs that... Oh, veteran. My mind went to veterinarian. I was like, why do they have a veterinarian on the team? It wasn't long before one of our vets found signs that the guy had gone off the trail. We grouped up and followed him, spreading out in a fan to make sure we were covering as much ground as possible. Suddenly, a call comes over the radio telling us to all head back to the vet's location. And we come right away because this usually means the missing person is injured, and we need a full team to help get them out safely. We meet back up, and the vet is just standing at the base of a tree with his hands on the side of his head. I ask my buddy what's going on, and he points up into the branches of this tree. I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing, but there's a walking stick dangling from a branch at least 30 feet off the ground. The little strap thing on the handle has been looped around the branch and it's just hanging there. There's no way the guy could have tossed it up that far, and we don't see any other signs that he's still in the area. We call up into the tree, but it's obvious no one's in it. We're all just sort of left scratching our heads. We keep searching for the guy, but we never find him. We even bring our canines out. Okay, the veterinarian would make a little...
Right, I was going to say, that kind of makes sense with the animals and everything.
We even bring our canines out, but they lose his scent long before this tree. Eventually, the search is called off because there are other calls we have to attend to, and past a certain point, there's not much we can do. The guy's wife called us every day for months asking if we'd found her husband.
So sad.
And it was heartbreaking to hear her get more and more hopeless each time. I'm not sure why this call in particular was so upsetting, but I think it was just the sheer impossibility of it. That and the questions that were raised. How the hell had this guy's cane ended up there? Did someone kill him and toss that up there as some weird trophy? We did our best to find him, but it was almost like a taunt. We still talk about that one from time to time. If you remember last time, we had like the other person climbing up the tree and disappearing. So it's like the little tree portals.
Right.
I also really like even though these are all like second, third hand stories, like they still feel really like personable.
Right.
Like the wife being heartbroken and like, it's just so well written.
I know, I hate that it's like fiction because it's so good. And I'm like, no, that's true. That, like, I can see that.
Yeah.
And that one's so, because you feel for her too, you know?
Missing kids are the most heartbreaking. Doesn't matter what circumstances they go missing under, it's never easy. And we always, always dread the ones we find deceased. It's not common, but it does happen. David Paulides talks a lot about kids SAR teams find in places they shouldn't be or couldn't be. I can honestly say I've heard about this kind of thing happening more than I've seen, but I'll share one of the ones that I think about a lot that I witnessed personally. A mother and her 3 kids were out for a picnic in an area of the park that has a small lake. One is 6, one is 5, and the other is about 3. She's watching them all really closely, and according to her, she never lets them out of her sight at any time. She never saw anyone else in the area either, which is important. She packs their stuff up and they start to head back to the parking area. Now, this lake is only about 2 miles into the woods and it's on a very clearly established trail. It's almost impossible to get lost getting from the parking area to it unless you're deliberately going off the path like an imbecile. Her kids are walking in front of her when she hears what sounds like someone coming up the path behind her. She turns around, and in the 4 or so seconds she's not looking, her 5-year-old son vanishes. She figures he's stepped off the trail to pee or something, and she asks her other 2 where he went. They both tell her that a big man with a scary face came out of the woods next to them, took the kid's hand, and led him into the trees. The 2 remaining kids don't seem upset. In fact, she says later that it seems like they've been drugged. They're sort of spacey and fuzzy. So of course she freaks out, starts looking frantically in the area for her kid. She's screaming his name, and she says at one point she thinks she heard him answer her. Now, obviously, she can't go blindly running into the woods. She's got the other 2 kids. So she calls the police, and they send us out immediately. We respond, and we start the search for him. Over the course of the search, which spans miles, we never find a single trace of the kid. Canines can't pick up any scent. We don't find any clothing or broken bushes or literally anything that would signify a child being there. Of course, there's suspicion about the mother for a while, but it's pretty clear that she's completely destroyed by the whole thing. We looked for this kid for weeks, with a lot of volunteer help. But eventually, the search peters out, and we have to move on. The volunteers keep searching, though, and one day we get a call on the radio letting us know that a body has been found and needs to be received. They tell us the location, and none of us can believe it. We figure it has to be a different kid, but we go out there, about 15 miles from the site where he vanished, and sure enough, we find the body of the kid we've been looking for.
I feel like I've heard a true story that was like this exact thing, except the kid didn't die. But it was the same, very similar, of the mom looking away, looking back, except there were 2 kids.
Yeah.
And then one of them was gone. And similar, like, oh, we just, went into the woods.
There definitely are a lot of weird gone missing stories out there.
That's why, like,
true.
it's so,
a lot of it's very believable, yeah.
Yeah, it's very believable because you've heard this before, you know?
I have been trying to figure out how this kid got where he did ever since we found him, and I've never come up with an answer. A volunteer just happened to be in the area because he figured he might as well look in places no one else would think to, on the off chance the body had been dumped. He comes to the base of a tall, rocky slope, and halfway up, he sees something. He looks through his binoculars, and sure enough, it's the body of a little boy stuffed in a little opening in the rock. Oh. He recognizes the color of the kid's shirt, so he knows right away that it's the missing boy. That's when he calls it in, and we're dispatched. It took us almost an hour to get his body down, and none of us could believe what we were seeing. Not only was this kid 15 miles from where he'd started, there was no possible way he could have gotten up there on his own. This slope is treacherous, and it's hard even for us with our climbing gear. A 5-year-old boy had no way of getting up there. Of that, I'm certain. Not only that, but the kid doesn't have a scratch on him. His shoes are gone, but his feet aren't damaged or dirty. So it wasn't as if an animal dragged him up there.
I love stories about clean feet. Their feet should be dirty, and they always mention...
Oh, baby, I love a story about a clean foot. Freak. And from what we can tell, he hasn't been dead that long. He'd been out there over a month by that point, and it looked like he'd only been dead for, at most, a day or two. The whole thing was unbelievably strange and was one of the most disconcerting calls I've ever been on. We found out later that the coroner determined the kid had died from exposure. He'd frozen to death, probably late at night, 2 days before we found him. There were no suspects and no answers. To date, it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It's just so... It's weird enough to be weird, but it's plausible enough to feel real.
Right, to feel real. Freezing to death's gotta be, terrible.
Oh, then again...
You don't feel anything, right?
I was going to say...
burning?
I was going to say, isn't hypothermia, you end up feeling more warm at the end?
Because, a lot of... take your clothes off, yeah.
So, this poor fictional kid probably felt warm at least.
Right.
Whoever stuck him there. One of my first jobs as a trainee was a search op for a 4-year-old kid that had gotten separated from his mom. This was one of those cases where we knew we were going to find him because the dogs were on a strong scent trail, and we saw clear signs that he was in the area. We ended up finding him in a berry patch about half a mile from where he'd been last seen. The end. No, I'm kidding. Kid wasn't even aware that he'd wandered that far. One of the vets brought him back, which I was glad for because I'm really not good with kids, and I find it hard to talk to them and keep them company.
I keep thinking veterinarian.
Right?
I'm like, why did they find the kid?
As my trainer and I are headed back, she decides to take me on a detour to show me one of the hot spots where we tend to find missing people. It's a natural dip in the land near a popular trail, and people will usually move downhill because it's easier. True. It is.
I love going downhill. I hate going
But then comes the uphill.
Yeah.
I also never thought about that, again, I don't know if this is true, but it feels true that, the terrain would naturally lead to people doing the same sorts of things when they're such an interesting thing to think about. It does seem
very researched.
We hike out there. It's a few miles away, and we get there in about an hour or so. As we're walking around the area and she's pointing out places she's found people in the past, I see something in the distance. Now, this area we're in is about 8 miles from the main parking area, though there's back roads you can take to get closer if you don't want to hike that far. But we're on state-protected land, which means there can't be any kind of commercial or residential development out here. The most you'll ever see is a fire tower or makeshift shelter that homeless people think they can get away with building. But I can see from here that whatever this thing is has straight edges. And if there's one thing you learn quickly, it's that nature rarely makes straight lines.
Neither, I guess, does homeless people. Straight edges can't be homeless.
Right. What if a carpenter loses his home?
That's fair. That's fair. He could build a new one. Be very straight.
I point it out, but she doesn't say anything. She just hangs back and lets me wander over and check it out. I like that.
Yeah, right.
He's got to learn for himself or herself. I don't think the narrator ever gives a gender. I get within about 20 feet of it, and all the hair on the back of my neck stands up. It's a staircase in the middle of the fucking woods. In the proper context, it would literally be the most benign thing ever. It's just a normal staircase with beige carpet and about 10 steps tall.
Well, the carpet makes it worse for me.
Yeah. But instead of being in a house where it obviously should be, it's out here in the middle of the woods. The sides aren't carpeted, obviously, and I can see the wood it's made of. It's almost like a video game glitch where the house has failed to load completely and the stairs are the only thing visible. I stand there and it's like my brain is working overtime to try and make sense of what I'm seeing. I love that too. It gives like backroom vibes where like they always talk about like you glitch out of, clip out of reality and like talking about it in the same sort of sense. Also, like, it's such a good point too that they like address directly like the context of things matters. Like,
right.
I always remember, partially remember, because I was about to say I don't remember who said it, although I think it might have been Lon Chaney or Lon Chaney Jr. I don't know if they were both actors. Lon Chaney Jr. played Wolfman and the original Phantom, like early Universal monsters. Yeah. So it might have been him. Anyway, I don't know. Point is, it was talking about horror in some book I was reading, and the quote was something like, it was about the importance of context. It was like, if you go to a circus and see a clown, it's not great. It's hilarious.
Right.
For most people, given. But then it's like,
clown. But
if you hear your doorbell in the middle of the night and you see the same clown, it's terrifying. Right. Context really is everything.
So true. Right.
So I love that they
Right. The carpet just makes it so much, because all the other stories, there's detail, but not the detail of the carpet, the beige carpet.
Yeah.
Plus, it's so much creepier because carpet in the woods.
I was gonna say it more leans into the out of place, because like if you were to build a staircase in the woods, why
wouldn't put carpet?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why. So it's very. I like that.
Yeah, it's even
just
more
such
uncanny. My trainer comes and stands next to me, and she just stands there casually, looking at it as if it's the least interesting thing in the world. I ask her what the fuck this thing is doing here, and she just chuckles. Get used to it, rookie. You're gonna see a lot of them. I start to move closer, but she grabs my arm. Hard. I wouldn't do that, she says. Her voice is casual, but her grip is tight, and I just stand there looking at her. You're gonna see them all the time. But don't go near them. Don't touch them. Don't go up them. Just ignore them. I start to ask her about it, but something in the way she's looking at me tells me that it's best if I don't. We end up moving on, and the subject doesn't come up again for the rest of my training. She was right, though. I'd say about every 5th call I go on, I end up running across a set of stairs. Sometimes they're relatively close to the path, maybe within 2 or 3 miles. Sometimes they're 20, 30 miles out, literally in the middle of nowhere. And I only find them during the broadest searches or training weekends. They're usually in good condition, but sometimes it looks like they've been out there for miles. I assume they meant to say like a measurement of time, like right. Out there for months or something. All different kinds, all different sizes. The biggest I ever saw looked like they came out of a turn-of-the-century mansion and were at least 10 feet wide, with steps leading up at least 15 or 20 feet. I've tried talking about it with people, but they just give me the same response my trainer did. It's normal. Don't worry about it. They're not a big deal. But don't go close to them or up them. When trainees ask me about it now, I give them the same response. I don't really know what else to tell them. I'm really hoping someday I get a better answer, but it hasn't happened yet. Man, the stairs in the woods are just so iconic too. It's like,
it really is.
It's just like such a good creation. Like in my mind, it's up there with like Slender Man, SCP, like all the like the iconic internet horror. Like right. The staircase in the woods is like so good.
Just out of curiosity, I wanted to just see like what happens, like. Because all these stories, they just say don't do it. They don't say why, they just don't do it. But just doing like a quick little Google search, a few different accounts basically say the same thing, that you risk like entering the supernatural, disappearing, being harmed by an unseen force.
From what I remember, they do address later like someone going up them.
And seeing.
Yeah.
Because that's, I always hear that. Yeah. I've seen pictures of staircases too, but I've never heard.
It does. They do go into a little. It's like one of those things where, like, when a mystery is so good, you want answers, but it's hard to write a compelling answer a lot of times. So usually you find out and it's like kind of a letdown.
Right.
Where I
feel like they just keep giving you the don't do it.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like this story perfectly threads the needle of giving you just enough to sort of put some pieces together if you want to, but also not coming right out and saying, this is XYZ, what it all means, what happens. Like, it's enough to satisfy your curiosity, I think, by the end of it. But not so much that it like ruins the mystery.
And I wonder if the type of staircase also, you know what I mean? Like different thing for the spiral staircase, if that's different than a straight up staircase, like an L staircase. Like
2 more little vignettes here. This is another one that was less spooky and more sad. I like that too, that they're not all explicitly supernatural either, because that also really makes it feel more real.
So real.
Like, if you're a real search and rescue person, you're not going to, all right, here's every ghost story. Like, you're just telling your stories and some of them are normal. You know? Like,
right.
It just feels, it's so well written. I really...
I hate that it's fake.
Right?
It's so good. It's so good.
I really need to look into the author and like see if they're working on anything else, because it is just one of my favorite stories.
Right.
This is another one that was less spooky and more sad. A young man went missing late in winter when, realistically, no one should be going that far out onto the trails. We close a lot of them, but some remain open year-round unless there's a shitload of snow. We didn't opt for him, but we had about 6 feet of snow on the ground. It was an unusually heavy snow year. And we knew it wasn't likely that we'd find him until spring when the thaw came. Ugh, that's such a... Just like...
fog in general.
Yeah, just like... Not even for this story, but just like bodies in general. The thought that like you get lost in the winter...
Right.
Lose the body in the snow and you don't find it until spring. Ugh.
Right.
I hate that. Sure enough, when the first big thaw came, a hiker reported a body a little ways off the main trail. We found him at the base of a tree in a pile of melted snow. I knew right away what had happened, and it scared the living shit out of me. Most of you who ski or snowboard or spend any amount of time on a mountain will probably have guessed too. When snow falls, it doesn't collect as thick in the areas beneath the branches. It happens most with fir trees because they have a sort of closed umbrella shape. So what you end up with is a space around the base of a tree that's filled with a mixture of loose powdery snow, air, and branches. They're called tree wells, and they're not immediately obvious if you don't know what you're looking for. We put up signs in the welcome center, big ones, letting people know how dangerous they are, but every year that we get an unusual amount of snow, at least one person doesn't read them or doesn't take the warning seriously. And
do they ever, honestly?
No one reads the signs.
No one reads the sign. People
it's
go
a noble,
in the outdoor.
Noble intentions, but people are dumb. Mm-hmm. At least one person doesn't read them or doesn't take the warning seriously, and we find out about it in spring. I just love the way they wrote that.
Right.
Like, ugh. My best guess is that this young man was hiking and got tired, or maybe a cramp from walking in the deep snow. He went to go sit at the base of the tree, not knowing there was a tree well, and he fell in. He got stuck with his feet up and the surrounding snow caved in around him. Ugh.
That's rough.
Unable to free himself, he suffocated. It's called snow immersion suffocation, and it doesn't usually happen except in really deep snow. But if you get stuck in a weird position like this guy did, even 6 feet of snow can be lethal. I mean, that's like what is like a 2-inch puddle. Like anything's lethal if it blocks
you can
your
drown
lungs.
in it. Right, exactly.
Like, oh, that's terrifying.
Snow, you don't think of that though, because my first reaction's like, oh, eat it, but it's so heavy too.
Yeah.
And I
enough
never
of anything
about...
is gonna block your block the air. Oh, it's awful. What scared me the most was imagining how he must have struggled. Upside down in the freezing cold, he didn't die quickly. The snow would have formed a dense, heavy pile on top of him, and it would have been literally impossible to get out. As it got harder to breathe, he would have known what was happening. I can't even imagine what he was thinking in his last moments. Ugh. That also reminds me of like all the caving stories. Like,
yes,
I hate it.
I hate being trapped. No, it gives me claustrophobia.
Yeah. If I'm going to die in an accident, I want it to be quick. I don't want to get stuck and run out of breath.
No underwater caves, no above caves, no holes.
Nowhere, anywhere.
Right here. I'm fine.
A lot of my less outdoorsy friends want to know if I've ever seen the Goat Man while I've been out on calls. Hell yeah, Goat Man.
I love the Goat Man.
So good.
Isn't that also the New Jersey Devil? Is that the same?
No.
They're two separate?
Yeah. Jersey Devil has some goat-esque
but it's
features,
not the Goat Man?
Jersey Devil, obviously Jersey.
Yeah.
Goatman is usually more south, like Maryland, Georgia.
Where's the bridge? That's Goatman's bridge, right?
The bridge is one of the Goatman stories. I want to say that's also one of the southern states. Right, I forget off the top of my head, though. Unfortunately, or I guess fortunately, I've never had anything quite like that happen. I guess the closest was the whole black-eyed man thing, but I didn't see anything. Wow. Sometimes things just... Oh, man.
Snapping.
But I didn't see anything. However, there was one call where I had something kind of similar happen, but I'm not sure I'm willing to chalk it up to the Goatman. I like to, like, even, like, the narrator is skeptical of things, right. or like, some things.
Right,
which
right.
is, like...
It's like, yeah, it's not really that.
Yeah, like, don't be...
That's why it's so... He's such a good writer, honestly.
I think the author's a woman.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
They are great.
Whoever they are. We'd gotten a report that an older woman had fainted along one of the trails and needed assistance That just made me think of, what if the Goatman, the goat half was a fainting goat? He gets scared and passes out.
The screaming goats.
Yeah. Oh, man. A woman had fainted along one of the trails and needed assistance getting back down to the main area. We hike up to where she's at, and her husband is just beside himself. He runs, well, I guess more jogs to us, and tells us that he was a little ways off the trail looking at something when his wife starts screaming behind him. He runs back to her and she's passed out on the trail. We get her on a backboard, and as we're getting her down to the welcome center, she comes to and starts screaming again. I calm her down and ask her what happened. I can't remember verbatim what she said, but essentially what happened was this. She'd been waiting for her husband when she started hearing this really strange sound. She said it sounded sort of like a cat, but it was off somehow, and she couldn't quite figure out why. She went a little ahead to try and hear it better, and it sounded like it was coming closer. Fuck that. Nope. I'm out. Even if it's a cat, no. I'm still out.
Stay away.
Because they're still dangerous.
Right.
She went a little ahead to try and hear it better, and it sounded like it was coming closer. She said the closer it got, the more uneasy she was, until she finally figured out what was wrong. I do remember this next part because it was so weird that I don't think I could forget it if I tried. It wasn't a cat.
Oh, God.
It was a man saying the word meow over and over. Just meow. Meow.
What the hell?
Meow. But it wasn't a man. It couldn't have been because I've never heard a man make his voice buzz like that.
Oh, buzz.
My first thought is, what are they?
Oh, the smoker people?
Yeah, what do they call that? A trait.
Trait.
That's a guy with a trait.
Meow.
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 No. I've never heard a man make his voice buzz like that. I thought my hearing aid was going out, but it wasn't. I adjusted it, and it still sounded all buzzy. It was awful. He was coming closer, but I couldn't see him. And the closer he got, the more scared I was. And the last thing I remember was a shape coming out of the trees. I guess that's when I fainted. Now, obviously, I'm a little perplexed as to why a guy would be out in the fucking woods chanting meow, meow, meow at people. So once we get down the mountain, I tell my superior that I'm going to go search the area to see if I can find anything. He gives me the go-ahead, and I grab a radio and hike back to where she fainted. I don't see anyone, so I keep going about a mile more, and when I head back, I go off the trail to see if I can figure out where she saw him coming from. It's almost sunset by this point, and I don't have any desire to be out at night alone. Fair. Mood.
With Catman.
Valid. So I just sort of write it off and make a mental note to check it out again tomorrow. But as I'm headed back, I start to hear something in the distance. I stop, and I call out for anyone in the immediate area to identify themselves. The sound didn't come closer or get louder, but it sounded exactly like a man saying meow, meow, in this really odd monotone.
Oh.
As comical as it makes it sound, it was almost like that guy on South Park with the electrolarynx, Ned.
Oh my!
It has definitely been long enough that I did not remember that line, so I'm glad we thought of that. Meow. Meow. But yeah, imagining like
That's
just a person,
that's almost
creature making that noise.
See, I think in some sense that's almost more terrifying than being paranormal because like real people are scary.
Oh, absolutely.
That's scarier than if it was a paranormal cat or something like.
But yeah, something that sounds human but also so not.
Yeah, that's also terrifying.
I go off the trail in the direction I think it's coming from, but I never seem to get closer. It's almost like it's coming from all directions.
No.
Eventually, it just sort of fades out, and I ended up going back to the Welcome Center. I didn't get any further reports like that, and even though I went back to that area, I never heard that exact sound again. I suppose it could have been some stupid kid out there fucking with people, but even I have to admit it was weird. So this kind of turned into a massive wall of text, and for that I apologize. I wanted to get to the stories my friend told me, and he does have some good ones, so I'll post those tomorrow evening. I also have a few more of my own I think you guys will like. I'm sorry to keep you all in suspense again. Hopefully the stories here make up for it and help you get through the next 24 hours until I can post again. Not super important, but edit. Since it seems like all of you would like to hear more, tomorrow I'll write up as many stories as I can and do a massive post. I'll include my friends' stories, and I'll see if I can get a hold of a few more people who might have interesting things to talk about. I just wasn't sure how people felt about big, huge walls of text, but if you're all okay with it, I'll post lots of stories. So that is part 2.
I love it.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's just so good.
This has been a real fun one.
I like
that
this
was a
one.
Fun topic.
It went perfect together.
Right?
It really did. Black-eyed children and black-eyed men.
No black-eyed peas.
Well, anyways, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you have a spooky dooky night.
Oh.
And don't forget to wash your hands on the way out. And on that note,
I guess we're doing this.
On that note, that has been a...
What's the show called?
The Ghouls Room.
Bye.
Bye. That was a good one. I like that. That tied in perfect. That was... The Ghouls Room. Oh, sorry. Do not to get that.
I already have to turn you down.
Like, bitch is going in fast.